I'm Natasha Kirchuk, and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. Coming up in today's newscast, Egypt presents a brand new prisoner swap deal to Israel and Hamas. Prime Minister Netanyahu finishes the first half of his tour across Latin America, and we'll reveal the top 5 Israeli gifts you can get for under $100. Stay tuned for the latest news in Israel. We've been seeing a major policy shift in Hamas recently, and it looks like we're now seeing the first real results of these developments. Egypt has just come forward to broker a brand new prisoner swap between Israel and Hamas, a deal that potentially gives Israel its first ever intel on the Israeli citizens and soldiers currently being held in Gaza. With the humanitarian crisis in Gaza quickly deteriorating by the day, many speculate that Hamas has been running out of options. This latest compromise on a prisoner swap deal from Egypt would certainly be evidence of that. Contrary to past refusals to even negotiate, Hamas is now reportedly ready to begin talks with Israel, and with zero preconditions. Egypt is proposing that Israel transfer the bodies of 39 Palestinians to Hamas, nearly half of which are Hamas operatives, all in exchange for intel on missing Israeli civilians and soldiers imprisoned in Gaza since the last war. Hamas is currently believed to be holding at least 3 Israeli citizens captive, as well as the bodies of at least 2 Israeli soldiers killed in combat. If Israel were to agree to this deal, however, it would then also be required to free 54 Palestinian prisoners rearrested after the Gilad Shalit deal. While Israel has refused any past negotiations involving Gilad Shalit prisoners, this new offer is the first to include concrete proof on these captured Israelis. Debates are already swirling, but for now, the ball is in Israel's court. Well, the Israeli Prime Minister has just passed through Colombia after wrapping up a 2.5-day trip in Argentina. And even though his short visit lasted for only 3 hours, the Israeli leader still had the time to discuss how his country can help Colombia rebuild after a 50-year war. Colombia has been in conflict since the 1960s, with intense fighting between the Colombian government, paramilitary groups, and left-wing guerrillas, such as the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, known as FARC. It's all been in an attempt to increase their individual influences in Colombian territory. Now, the reasons for the fighting have varied from group to group, with FARC claiming that they're fighting for the rights of the poor in Colombia, and the Colombian government saying their fight is for order and stability. Well, the conflict officially concluded in August of this year, and Israel wants a hand in helping with post-war construction.
We think that we can do a lot more here, a lot more together.
Israel has maintained a robust security relationship with the Colombian government for years, and this relationship is expected to continue, especially since Colombia faces significant security threats from its neighboring nation of Venezuela. In fact, just last year, a Colombian delegation came all the way over to Israel for training in how to clear landmines, which has been a major challenge for Colombia. But the Israeli Prime Minister says Colombia will have a lot more to deal with than just post-war reconstruction. This is an issue that the Israeli Prime Minister harped on during his trip to Argentina after he, of course, praised the Argentine president's efforts to solve the bombing of a Buenos Aires Jewish center in 1994, a terror incident that has been blamed on, guess who? Iran.
We know without a doubt that Iran and Hezbollah were backing up and in fact initiated these attacks. And I can say that Iran's terror has not stopped since then. They have a terror machine that encompasses the entire world with their sidekick Hezbollah. They're operating terrorist cells through many continents, including in Latin America.
85 people were killed in the Amia bombing, but critics accuse former Argentine leader Cristina Fernández de Kirchner of trying to improve ties with Iran rather than bringing the bombers to justice. Under Kirchner, the prosecutor probing the Amia attack was found dead just hours before he was supposed to appear in Congress to prove his accusation that the Argentine leader had whitewashed Iran's role in the bombing. Current President Mauricio Macri came into power in 2015 and has since boosted ties with Israel while also reinitiating a proper investigation into the attack. Not everybody is happy about that in Argentina, and the Israeli Prime Minister's visit was met with several protests.
Es realmente un genocida. Netanyahu, queremos denunciar la complicidad del gobierno entreguista de Macri, que sabiendo que es un genocida, lo invita a nuestro país oficialmente.
It's clear that no protest is going to stop flourishing Israeli-Argentine ties, however. Netanyahu and Macri signed a series of agreements during the Israeli Prime Minister's visit, including a public security deal to enhance cooperation between the police forces of both countries, a social insurance agreement, and a customs deal. Argentina also handed over almost 140,000 historic documents to Israel to provide deeper insight into the Holocaust. The High Court has decided to strike down the exemption of the ultra-Orthodox from army service, and the move is fiercely dividing the Jewish state. Here with the latest on this is ILTV's Brett Allen Smith. Now, Brett, this issue has been at the core of Israeli debate for generations. Now, where are both sides coming from on this?
Well, it's exactly like you're saying. I mean, even just in terms of the numbers here, the military is one of the biggest, if not the single biggest line item on Israel's budget. Now, on top of that, the army also is Israel's one of the most significant equalizers for the society. So by not drafting, the Haredi become just that much more distant from the rest of the majority who, of course, are required to serve in the army. Now, on the other hand, the ultra-Orthodox argue that they serve a critical role in Israel's society by preserving the state's religious identity, and that's something that they feel they can't really do if they're forced to draft. Now, that's basically been, up to now, the government's position on the matter, even giving Haredi families money from the government so that they can study Torah in lieu of working or doing the army.
Right. Well, as I understand things now, the court's verdict sends things back to the government to come up with a new plan. What will this be like for the Knesset?
I would say difficult, most likely. Obviously, the ultra-Orthodox parties are completely up in arms over this, promising new laws to undo the decision, while other Knesset members, including Israel's own defense minister, they're saying it's high time that every Israeli serve their country equally, regardless of religion or race. And this, of course, puts Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu in a very tough position, as you'll see right now in the report. Israel's Supreme Court has just made a controversial decision on an issue that has divided the state of Israel for generations. Since the birth of Israel's army, the ultra-Orthodox have been granted full exemption from the mandatory draft into the IDF, a sacrifice required of every Israeli teenager when they hit the age of 18. That leaves nearly 10% of the country's population free from army service to study Torah, at a time when many argue that Israel needs its soldiers now more than ever. The IDF has just launched its largest northern drill in decades to prepare for a potential war with Hezbollah, and even boosted salaries and benefits for combat troops. But this latest verdict from the High Court has just changed everything by declaring the long-standing Haredi exemption unconstitutional. The courts have now given the government just a year to propose a new policy on ultra-Orthodox drafting, putting Knesset members at odds even within their own parties, with some MKs denouncing the decision and others saying it's high time all members of the society equally contribute. Almost all agree that Prime Minister Netanyahu has a difficult decision ahead of him.
For years now, the Palestinian Authority has been pushing to be officially recognized by the United Nations World Tourism Organization. It was looking like things were going to go their way this year, but in a shocking move, mere days before the vote, the Palestinians have just pulled the plug on their own request. Just last month, the UN put Palestine at the top of its annual list of flourishing new tourism destinations. This raised confidence that this year would grant them a new status with the world's leading tourism authority. But in a surprise decision, the Palestinians have now suddenly completely withdrawn their request for recognition, in a move that only Israel saw coming. Israel's foreign ministry has been fighting the PA's campaign from the start, and clearly these efforts have yielded success. Another reason may be that the White House reportedly asked the Palestinians to drop the issue at the UN as a compromise to advance its latest plan for Middle East peace. With a heavy pro-Palestinian majority, the UN tends to make decisions that Israel fiercely disagrees with, making this latest development a reason for Israel to celebrate. Now, in a surprising and somewhat awkward move, it looks like Qatar is attempting to establish warmer ties with the American Jewish community. Qatar has hired a leading PR firm based in Washington, D.C. to help arrange meetings with several prominent American Jewish leaders. The Arab nation will be paying a whopping $50,000 a month to the PR firm, Stonington Strategies, to help improve the Emirates' ties with U.S. Jews.
The meetings are scheduled to take place when the Emir and Crown Prince visit the United Nations General Assembly in New York next week. But several Jewish leaders are not planning to meet with Qatari officials anytime soon. Among them is Mort Klein, the head of the pro-Israel Zionist Organization of America, who said it looks very much like this is a public relations attempt to moderate Qatar's image as a country that supports and funds terrorism. Qatar's odd request comes on the heels of their ongoing diplomatic feud with several Gulf states, including Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and the United Arab Emirates, which claim Qatar supports terrorism and is attempting to interfere in local political affairs by using its channel Al Jazeera. The request to meet with U.S. Jewish leaders also comes just weeks after the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu called on the Qatari-based news outlet to be expelled from Israel.
Innovations in hearing aids are made all the time all over the world, but Israeli company Medton is sitting at the forefront of the market. Here to tell us all about the amazing new things that they have to offer is Medton CEO Udi Doron. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So first of all, what does Medton do?
Medton is importing hearing aids from Denmark mainly, and in Israel we are doing the adaptation, the fitting, the right fitting into the ear of the customers.
Interesting. So, I mean, tell us a little bit about what makes the products that you have so unique and kind of some of the development that you're doing.
The most advanced product now, it's a computer basically, which is in your ear, very small, works for 1 week on a very small battery, and it is connected via your smartphone to the internet.
Interesting.
So that way you can do a lot of connections. Let's say you have a ring bell at the door and then somebody is pushing it and then you get a notice in your ear. So it allows you to connect yourself even when you are remote from home, okay, or when you are at home. And that's apart from the fact that this is a very sophisticated hearing aid which is scanning the environment 1,000 times per second, okay? Wow. And it is differentiating between the voice and the noise, and it is lowering the noise, increasing the volume of the speech.
Interesting, very interesting. So what inspired the idea to work in this world of hearing aids?
First and foremost, you're helping people. It's very important to hear. People are not aware that 40% of the cases of dementia and Alzheimer are related to mild hearing loss. So it is very important that you have a good hearing. If you don't have a good hearing, you start to exclude yourself from company. Because let's say you're sitting in a restaurant and you can't understand what is going on, and then you feel that you have to ask what again and again. So you feel shame a little bit, and then you're not coming in, you're not joining.
Right, so these types of devices are really able to, I mean, ultimately they're helping people, right? So where are the Medton products available right now?
Okay, we are distributed all around the country, and we have 26 clinics all around Israel. And you can find us also in some dealers and so on. And of course, this product, which we are talking about, called Open, is available all around the world.
Beautiful. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us, Udi Doron.
Okay, take care.
All right, a trip to the hospital can be a very stressful situation, and it's even worse if you're a kid. On top of being ill, kids have to deal with falling behind in class, missing out on school trips, and even being cut off from their friends. But one Israeli hospital is now offering something very special for kids stuck in the hospital by bringing them a virtual safari right to their bed.
The real-life safari in Ramat Gan is collaborating with Israel's Tel HaShomer Hospital and has placed cameras throughout their facility's monkey cages. The cameras are live-streamed directly to the children's wing of the hospital, giving sick kids 24-hour access to see what their favorite furry friends are up to. But this isn't just for entertainment. The experiment actually helps kids deal with the stress of their illness in a new way they might not normally be able to with adults. Family members and doctors can help understand how children are feeling through their responses to the virtual safaris. If a kid notices that his favorite monkey seems sad, it may be a way of sharing how he or she is actually feeling. With plans to expand the program to include new animals and more hospitals, doctors are hopeful that this new animal therapy might help kids cope during difficult times.
The Emoji Movie is finishing up its second month in theaters, so for all of those waiting for the upcoming merchandise to hit the shelves already, then wait no more, because joining me now in the studio is Omer Dekel, the Vice President of Sales at the Israeli company PMI, which won the Sony bid to create their line of emoji products. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Natasha.
I'm so excited to see all of these cool toys that we have on the desk here. So tell us a little bit about PMI. How did you guys end up being chosen to make this line of products?
Honestly, it's a nice story to tell. We started 3 years ago, and we developed a line of the generic emoji. When we registered an own IP called iMoji. Then we developed this whole line of merchandise, and it was huge success. And we sold in 100 territories worldwide, including everywhere you can tell. Then this all emoji movie concept brought up by Sony, and my father, who's the owner of the company, it's an amazing trailer. So they came out and met the Sony people, and they decided to take a collaboration together. And,
which is huge. I mean, the fact that this line of products is being made here, essentially, or being produced from here.
It's produced. Yes, we are shipping all over the world at the moment, and it's manufactured in China. And
but the ideas come from here.
Yes,
the ideas come from here.
100%.
So tell us a little bit. Okay, we see these are what are these? These are stamps.
So these are we call them stampers. Okay, so you can see the characters from the movie.
Interesting. And our favorite emojis, the ones that we're always using in our messages.
So kids love to play with. You just turn it around, and then you can stamp.
Kids and adults alike, my friends. Kids and adults alike. And I see we have these amazing pillows. We have a little poop emoji over there.
This is the Emoji Movie plush ball. You can always leave it in your living room or something.
Oh, absolutely. Guys, I think I'm going to be leaving with a lot of new toys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why do you think Sony picked you guys to create this line? Obviously, you said it was based on this past line of products that you had made, but what is so unique about these products?
I think they saw the concept after we finished with the generic version, okay, and it was done for us, and we were developing new lines, and then we understood what went good, what went well, and what sold well all over the world, and what did wrong. So the plush and the stampers did very well, and we offered this concept, which was available to Sony, and they liked it, and they loved the items as well.
That's what happened. Well, this is amazing. I mean, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
On having had the opportunity to create these products for Sony. And I think we'll have to keep our eye on your company to see what comes out next, right?
Yeah, we keep developing new lines, and now we just closed two new contracts with Nickelodeon and E1, which are huge companies as well.
Yeah, and who would know that was all happening here in the Holy Land, right?
That's it.
All right, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Natasha.
All right, better get your bibs ready because the 3rd annual Roundtables Festival is about to open right here in Israel. That means 60 of the world's top chefs from some of the most delicious international restaurants will be gathering in the Holy Land for one of the biggest cultural cuisine events of the year. As we all know, if there's anything Israelis take more seriously than terrorism, it's probably food. That's why American Express is hosting the 3rd year of Israel's Roundtables Festival and uniting the world's top culinary minds and spatulas right here in the Holy Land. Same as last year, 14 of the highest-ranked restaurants from all over the world are sending their head chef and his team for a week-long festival in Israel's culinary scene. Spain, Switzerland, Ireland, Mexico, the United States, and more will be represented at this year's fest, swapping recipes and kitchen tips with some of Israel's best restaurants. Even before the festival, Israeli chefs spend months training for the event abroad, with some even preparing their meals months in advance to get ready for the big week. But luckily, the festival isn't just for chefs. For a fixed price, you can actually buy a ticket for the event and get yourself a meal you normally need your passport to get to. I think I can hear everybody's tummies growling from here in the studio. Israelis are already freaking out about Apple unveiling its new iPhone 10, but reports are now coming out that one of the phone's coolest features was actually developed right here in Israel. With us in the studio for the details is ILTV's Aaron Porras. Now, Aaron, I know you're a big Apple guy. What exactly exactly was Israel's contribution to the iPhone 10?
So one of the coolest features actually of the new iPhone 10, which by the way, it's very confusing for everybody out there, but the iPhone 10 is not the 10th iPhone, it's just the 10th anniversary iPhone.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, they skipped number 9, very confusing. But yeah, the iPhone 10, one of the coolest new features is the facial recognition software called Face ID, which is they're getting rid of Siri, not Siri, but the home button and the Touch ID.
Right.
No more of that. So you're just, even in the dark,
so
you'll just be able.
instead of using your thumb or your forefinger,
exactly, you'll just be able to look at the phone and it will open.
You don't have to hit your face against
no,
the phone.
Yeah, you're gonna want to get it really close. No, yeah, it's really amazing software. It's the first time that software like this is like really commercially available. And we all know that Apple has a long-standing tradition, like most technology companies, to be very secretive about where their R&D is taking place.
But we also have reported in the past that they've been working with Israeli firms here in Israel.
Very, very likely. In fact, it's been reported that facial recognition software was developed right here. So it's pretty amazing, and I'll tell you some more about the iPhone 10 in my report.
When Apple CEO Tim Cook pulled back the curtain on his new flagship device, the iPhone 10, audiences were drooling over the gizmo's insane new features. It's got an edge-to-edge screen, no home button, maxed out new cameras, but maybe its coolest new feature of all is the never-before-seen Face ID software. Face ID does away with Touch ID once and for all by scanning its owner's face and unlocking your phone just by looking at the screen, even in the dark. Well, it turns out that this future tech was most likely developed right here in the Holy Land by an Israeli startup, too. Turns out Israeli cyber tech firm RealFace was acquired by Apple earlier this year and has been developing cutting-edge face recognition software for smartphones since 2014. Apple even set up its second largest research office in Herzliya, where hardware for the new iPhone 8 was recently developed. So even though Apple likes to keep secrets about how they make their crazy new toys, it looks like Israel definitely has a hand in the fun.
And now it's time for our top 5. It's that time of year again, holiday season here in Israel. So if you're looking to end your year by giving out some unique Israeli cheer, here are the top 5 coolest gifts under $100 made right here in Israel. All right, let's start with Mobigo. There's nothing worse than when your cell phone runs out of battery and you realize you've left your charger at home. That's where Mobigo comes in. It's a disposable charger that doesn't even need an outlet. This mini charger fits on a keyring in your wallet and you can just plug it into your phone on the go. Best of all, it only costs $8. Up next is My Sticko. This simple to use gadget is just 5 grams, but it can hold up to 100 times its weight. It sticks to almost any surface and can serve as a phone holder in the car, a dish towel hanger in the kitchen, to even a soda can holder on a lawn chair. At only $9.90, this might be the most useful gift you'll ever get. All right, there's nothing like a refreshing drink, especially if it comes in the Israeli product, the right cup. This recyclable plastic drinking cup tricks your senses into thinking that plain water actually has a fruity taste. Lemon, berry, orange, apple, you name it. At just $29, your gift will save its users hundreds of dollars in sugary beverages. Now, coming in at number 4, it's time to make sure your friends stop slouching with Upright. All you have to do is stick this little device onto your back while you're sitting at work, and it will literally buzz every time you start to slouch, forcing you to sit up straight. At just $89, Little Upright is the best gift to make your friends feel and look better. And last but not least, here's a gift that will make your memories last a lifetime in the coolest way possible. SoFly. SoFly is a flying drone camera that doubles as a smartphone case. All you have to do is detach SoFly from the back of your phone, toss it into the air, and then regulate the picture you want to take by tapping your phone. Just like an ordinary picture at $99, this gift promises the best angle possible. All right, that's it for today's top 5, but don't forget to tune in next week.
Enroll in eTeacher's online Hebrew courses and quickly discover that it creates the deepest connection to Israel that you could ever imagine.
And now for our Hebrew word of the day. Well, it's Thursday, which means a lot of us are getting our dinner menus ready for the Shabbat weekend. So today's word of the day is tarvad, which is what you call a spatula in Hebrew. The tarvad, the spatula, a chef's best friend. Whether you're grilling a patty or flipping a flapjack, your handy tarvad is your ally in all things yummy and delicious. Whether cast iron or plastic, you can bet you'll see a tarvad or two in any kitchen. Now pay attention, because the tarvad you use for grilling is different from the one you use for icing cakes. Israelis actually have a different word for that particular spatula, alakekan, which comes from the Hebrew word lelakek, or to lick. So if you're stir-frying up some veggies, better make sure you've got the right tarvad for the job. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the weather forecast. Tonight should be partly cloudy with a low of 78 or 26 degrees Celsius, and thankfully we can finally expect a drop in temperatures over the weekend to a high of about 85 or 29 degrees Celsius. All right, that's it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.54 shekels to the American dollar. Remember to sign up for our daily newsletter at iltv.tv. I'm Natasha Kirchuk, and thanks for watching.